Hi, I'm Dan Bradbury. I'm the Chief Product Officer at UpGuard and want to welcome you all to our quarterly summit. Once again, we've added some great new features to the platform over the last quarter. Today, I'll run through a few of these: the Data Breach Newsfeed, Remediation Planner, and Vendor Shared Profiles. I'll also tell you about some of the features we're currently working on, including vendor comparison, vendor tiering, compliance to security standards, and custom notifications. Let me start by running you through some of the features we've just released. The first one is the Data Breach Newsfeed, which provides a curated list of publicly disclosed data breaches, not to be confused with our data leak detection capability, which finds where data is being leaked on the internet and enables it to be shut down before it falls into the wrong hands. The Data Breach Newsfeed shows breaches that are already in the public domain, either through media coverage or being included in one of the many data breach registries. Knowing that an organization has recently been breached can provide important context when you're assessing them. Understanding the cause of the breach and the way the organization responded tells you even more. Our Data Breach Newsfeed includes a dedicated page where you can see all data breaches as they're reported. This is not limited to data breaches affecting your vendors, it's an industry-wide feed. But it's also easy to filter the feed to see only the breaches that affect your vendors. As well as this dedicated newsfeed, you can see data breaches for specific vendors when you click on their profile. We provide context about the breach to help you understand the implications, as well as links to relevant articles. The Data Breach Newsfeed is available now for all our customers, so please check it out and let us know what you think. The second feature we're launching today is the Remediation Planner. This helps you understand how specific risks affect the score of your own organization or that of your vendors. You can choose a set of risks and see how the score would be affected if they were remediated. This lets you hone in on the risks that are most important. Once you've identified the risks you want remediated, you can easily create a remediation request and send it to your vendor. The vendor also sees the impact that fixing the risks will have on their score. This not only provides greater transparency, but helps motivate both UpGuard customers and their vendors to remediate risks. The Remediation Planner is now available for all our customers. The third feature we're launching today is called Vendor Shared Profiles. Over the last couple of years, the importance of conducting security assessments on third parties has become widely accepted. Yet as more companies have embraced this, it's become clear just how much work it requires. A big focus for us is finding ways to make this process easier. I've spoken in the past about our managed third-party risk assessments, where we assess the vendors on behalf of our customers. We're continuing to see more customers asking us to provide this kind of support, but we're also working on ways to make the process more efficient when our customers want to assess vendors themselves. With a growing number of customers using UpGuard to manage vendor risk, there are now thousands of vendors that have completed security questionnaires within the platform. The new Vendor Shared Profile feature allows vendors to save their completed questionnaires and make them available to any UpGuard customer. When a vendor completes a questionnaire, they're invited to store it in their free UpGuard account, and when an UpGuard customer looks up their security profile, that customer can request access to it. This benefits both the UpGuard customer base and the vendors. UpGuard customers can view previously completed questionnaires rather than sending the vendor a new one. And vendors can answer questions once and share them multiple times rather than having to answer the same questions again and again. One of our goals is to provide a comprehensive library of content to help our customers assess vendors faster. And Vendor Shared Profiles is an important part of this strategy. In the month or so since we released it, we've already seen strong uptake and expect this to continue. We've released a number of other enhancements over the past quarter, including showing the geographic concentration of vendors' internet presence, API improvements, support for assessing vendors with no web presence, and improvements to how you navigate subsidiaries. To see them all, go to upguard.com/releases. After this session, we'll be running through product demos of the features I've covered today, so please check these out too. I want to talk now about some of the features we're working on this quarter. Vendor comparison, vendor tiering, compliance to security standards, and custom notifications. While our customers spend a lot of time drilling into the details of specific vendors, there are times where it's valuable to be able to do a side-by-side comparison across multiple vendors. For instance, you might be doing an RFP and want to see how the security profiles of the companies you're evaluating compare. The new vendor comparison feature is designed for this kind of side-by-side comparison. You choose the vendors you're interested in, and we provide a single report that shows how they compare. You can compare their scores, both at an overall level and for specific categories, such as website security. You can also compare their risk profiles and identify where each vendor's critical risks lie. The results can be easily exported, making it straightforward to share with others in your organization. The next feature I'll talk about is vendor tiering. Most organizations rely on a large number of vendors, but the role each one plays and therefore the risk exposure can be quite different. Many of our customers therefore have some kind of tiering system for their vendors. Vendors get classified based on aspects of the relationship, like whether they have access to customer data or physical access to offices. And the way vendors are assessed is then based on the tier they belong to. The higher the tier, the more comprehensive the assessment. The way you currently capture a vendor's tier within the UpGuard platform is through the use of custom labels. You create labels for each of your tiers and add the corresponding label to each vendor. Through numerous discussions with our customers, it's become clear that deeper support for tiers would be helpful. This quarter, we'll launch vendor tiering, which will no longer rely on custom labels. You'll be able to define the number of tiers your organization uses and the names of these, and then easily assign each of your vendors to the appropriate tier. The feature will make it easy to see things like which of your Tier 1 vendors have not been assessed in the last 12 months, or how your Tier 2 vendors compare to each other. The third feature I want to mention is compliance to security standards. Many of our customers assess their vendors against an industry standard framework, most commonly ISO 27001 and NIST CSF. They want to identify where vendors comply with these standards and where there are gaps. The UpGuard platform already includes security questionnaires based on these standards, but doesn't provide an easy way to measure a vendor's overall compliance. To address this, we're building compliance reporting that makes it easy to see how your vendors measure up against these standards. This includes not just risks identified through questionnaire responses, but also those identified through our automated scanning. This will let you easily identify the sections of these standards the vendor does and does not comply with. We're starting with ISO 27001 and NIST CSF and expect to add support for more standards over time. And the fourth feature I want to talk about is a small one, but something a number of our customers have asked for: custom notifications. This is essentially the ability to trigger notifications, whether that's in-app, via email, or sending a message to a third-party application based on labels and tiers. For example, rather than being notified every time any vendor's score drops below a certain threshold, you might only want to know if this happens for one of your Tier 1 vendors. This gives you greater control over the notifications that get generated and lets you focus on the events that are important to you. Before I finish, I want to mention one other change we've just released: an update to our scoring algorithm. Every day, we calculate scores for millions of organizations and regularly review our algorithm to make sure it results in the most accurate representation of risk. We know how important it is to have continuity with these scores, but the threat landscape is constantly evolving and we need to make periodic adjustments. Our last update was about a year ago, and this week we made another minor change. You might notice scores shifting slightly for your own organization or some of your vendors. If you have any questions about this, we'll be happy to discuss it in more detail. To wrap things up, let me quickly recap. We've released a number of new features over the last quarter, including a data breach newsfeed, remediation planner, and vendor shared profiles. And there's a number of exciting new features we're working on right now, including vendor comparison, vendor tiering, compliance to security standards, and custom notifications. Thanks for taking the time to watch. Let us know if you have any questions, and please check out the product demos.